Hey, what's up everyone? The Dan Sandwich here, and today I am back in automation and BeamNG.drive, and I have here the craziest car I have ever built. As far as a realistic car, I probably have crazier cars that I've built just in terms of pure insanity, but as far as trying to make a realistic-esque car, this is the craziest one I've ever built. Not just in terms of the design, which I think is pretty crazy, but the performance as well. And this is my first crack at an electric performance car. Definitely hypercar territory, which I'll show you in a little bit. But this car is absolutely insane, not just in terms of the design, but also the performance as well. Talk a little bit about the design here. I got a little carried away, I think, with these lights that kind of wrap around the side and then kind of go throughout the back of the car. I really like this two-tone paint job here as well. Now, it translates a lot better to BeamNG.drive than it does to automation. You can probably see a little bit of the weird texture thing happening right there, and then some spots where the base color of the car are peeking through. It's pretty difficult to do this. Like if you've ever messed around with trying to apply decals or things like that to cars in automation, it's pretty tricky because it's you got to get it like just right or else it won't work. So I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. I unintentionally made the taillights look Supra-esque, at least in the shape. I mean, the taillights themselves are quite a bit different, but I have this huge rear spoiler and then this gigantic like fin that goes back to it that I think looks super cool. These these things on the doors here that are like, they're windows into the interior, which is crazy. I love these wheels. I was a little cyberpunk inspired. That's kind of where the inspiration came from for like these lights that went around the sides and using wheels like this. Huge rear diffuser as well. But overall, I'm really happy with the design. The front, maybe it could use a little bit more, because if you look at it from right here, it looks like a normal, pretty normal car. And then as soon as you turn it, it's like, whoa, okay. So I don't know, maybe I could have made the front look a little crazier. But I kind of like the way that doesn't give away what else is happening. But in terms of performance, now with the electric vehicles, it's a little bit different. So the engine I have in here is a naturally aspirated V12. I'll show you real quick here. So it gets up to 2,800 horsepower and 2,100 pounds-feet of torque. It's an 8.36 liter V12, again, naturally aspirated. Quality at 15 on everything. And then when I translated this to BeamNG.drive with the electric vehicle thing, I believe it gives me the same horsepower figure, at least from what I could tell. So I don't know. The thing that is weird, and I mentioned this in another video that I made with an electric vehicle, is the acceleration for electric vehicles when you make them in automation and then export them to BeamNG. It doesn't really translate super well. So like in automation, this is a 4-speed auto manual, which when I did some testing, that was the fastest accelerating gearbox for some reason. It says that it's got a 0 to 62 in 2 seconds. When I take it into BeamNG, it's like 3.27 seconds. So quite a bit slower. I'm not really sure why that is, but it is what it is. If anyone knows how to fix that, if you could give me a comment, that'd be amazing, and I could make this thing even faster. But that being said, according to automation, the top speed of this car is 337, which is nuts. But spoiler alert, it can get a lot faster than that. So I'll show you that in BeamNG here in a second. So yeah, let's go ahead and take this into BeamNG. I will take it around the automation test track, and then do a top speed test, drag strip, car jump arena. You know the deal. If you've watched one of my videos before. you kind of know what goes on here. So let's do it. Alright, so we are in BeamNG.drive. I forgot to mention I named this the DSM Excalibur, which, you know, if you haven't watched some of my other videos, DSM is Dan Sandwich Motors, and then I for some reason had started naming a lot of my cars after swords. I don't really know how that started, but I think it's a cool naming structure for cars, and I don't think there's very many cars out there that are named after swords. I mean, there's a motorcycle named after a katana, right? But there's not very many, I don't think, cars named after swords. But anyway, this is the Excalibur, so because it's kind of like the ultimate, you know, car ever. And I am here at the Utah map just to kind of take this on some canyon roads, just kind of the way that you would probably drive this car in real life if you wanted to kind of test it out on roads. Now again, you probably want to take this thing to the track, most likely, given the performance figures and things like that, but I did want to just kind of take it out on some regular roads here just to kind of talk about the car a little bit. You can see for sure it definitely translated a lot better to BeamNG, I feel, than it did in Automation. Some of the rough edges are a little bit more smoothed out, which is nice. Yeah, it's just a super cool, I feel, car design. Of course I made it, so of course I think it's cool, but it's super unique, I think, with that light bar going down the middle of the car. Definitely took a little bit of inspiration from like the Bugatti Divo and cars like that, like those really high-end hypercars with some aero focus. And then, you know, when I started out with the idea of making an electric hypercar, you know, I was definitely aiming for like Rimac, which I know is not how you pronounce that, but I can never figure out how you're actually supposed to pronounce that. But definitely I had like the Rimac Nevera purely in mind, because that's kind of, you know, the standard when it comes to electric hypercars right now. It's got, you know, it has the most electric car records ever right now. But yeah, I mean, I really like this design. This thing drives so nicely. I mean, it's handling these tight canyon roads extremely well, despite the fact that it has a ton of power. You can really just kind of take it, you know, around some of these canyon roads and things like that, these tight turns and that sort of thing. The brakes are incredible, and it just once it gets, you know, some speed, it really can go very quickly as well. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to take this around some realistic looking roads here for a second. I mean, this is a pretty nice view. And while we're out here, I wanted to show off the lights that I have on there as well, because they look really cool at night. Yeah, so I mean, check this out. Like, this is what those lights look like when they're lit up. I think it looks super cool. Again, very like cyberpunk-esque. Offering a ton of light off to the side, which is, it's probably not street legal. I feel like if you had a car with lights like that, I mean, I don't know, people put like underglow and stuff like that on their cars. That's not, I guess, too dissimilar to this sort of thing. But yeah, this thing it just drives so well. Like, you can drift it and stuff like that too, if you want. So I don't know, it's probably the best car that I've designed in terms of driving characteristics, I love, again, the design. I think is just super cool. I love the two-tone paint job. Oh, this is a nice, like, tight turn. I can kind of almost like a rally car slide it around. Oh yeah, see, like it's just, you can just drift it around a hairpin corner in an electric hypercar that has almost 3,000 horsepower. Oh, as I smash it into a rock. I mean, that was gonna eventually gonna happen. I was kind of pushing it a little too far. But anyway, let's take this thing to the automation test track and see how it holds up against the other cars that I have tested. All right, back at the automation test track. Time to find out how this thing holds up against the other cars that I have tested. Again, I feel like it's one of the best handling cars I've ever made. There's a little bit of snap oversteer, I found. The other thing with making electric vehicles in automation is one of the characteristics that's great about electric cars in real life is you get all of the weight down low, so the center of gravity is, you know, really good, especially for, you know, performance cars and things like that. I don't know if there's a way to do that, to like kind of translate that same kind of feeling to a car in automation. But anyway, we're getting up to the main straightaway here. This thing is extremely fast, 225. I'm gonna slam on the brakes here so I don't smash into that wall. 225, just like that, like without even getting out of control. The brakes again are incredible. I'm just slamming on them here and taking that corner almost completely flat. Again, there's a little bit of body roll, just the smallest amount of that there. I tightened up the springs and dampers considerably because there was a lot more of that when I was doing my initial testing. But it's a little bit more planted out. Again, a little bit of kind of snap oversteer, like reactive oversteer and stuff like that there. But overall, like once you kind of get the hang of how to drive this thing, it is extremely good to drive. It's, you know, I just really love the way this thing drives, and we are looking at a sub 2 minute lap time here. Yeah, 157.8 smashing the wall for good effect. And while that's not the fastest time I've put around this track, it's up there for sure. Anything under 2 minutes, I think, is going to be really quick. So that outpaces the DSM Scythe, which is that open wheel, super lightweight track car. This, I think, weighs twice as much plus as that thing. And then it's a little bit slower than one of the test cars that I built, using a gas engine. Definitely the fastest electric vehicle I've done. Again, I haven't done many of them, but really quick around the automation test track. So let's see how it does at the drag strip. All right, time to see how this thing performs at the drag strip. Again, it doesn't quite accelerate like an electric vehicle, even though it is an electric vehicle. So I don't think we're going to be setting any records here, but this thing is still really quick. So let's see here. We're looking at a 9.9 second quarter mile, which is good for 14th on this leaderboard. So again, it would be a lot faster if it actually accelerated like an electric vehicle, but even still, it is quicker than the car that was actually faster than the car that was faster than it at the test track, that test car that I built, and then still faster than the Scythe, faster than the Mantis actually, which is oh, that was the SUV I built, that's right. Still not as fast as like some of the gas powered supercars and hypercars and things like that I made, but again, if anyone can figure out a way to make these electric vehicles in automation actually accelerate like electric vehicles should, please let me know, because I would love to try this again with the full, you know, strength of the electric motors in there. All right, I teased a little bit earlier the top speed of this thing. Let's go see just how fast this thing can get in a straight line. All right, so we're back at the grid map in this car, and we're going to see how fast this thing can get up to, what the top speed is And yeah, so once again, automation estimated 337 for the top speed. So let's see what this thing can actually get up to. So we're already at 250 to 300 and still looking pretty planted, pretty composed. We're already past the 337 that automation estimated, and we're getting up to 355, 360, 363, 364, and 365 was the highest I got it up to when I was testing earlier. And you can see the battery life on the bottom right hand corner of the screen there is draining really quickly. But yeah, 365, which is just absolutely insane. That would definitely be a record, not only for production vehicle, which this isn't. Let's just be real. This never go into production. But definitely for an electric vehicle as well. And the battery is now dead. So yeah, we drained the battery pretty quickly at top speed, which is funny. And it's just going to coast here for a little while. So yeah, really happy with the way this car turned out. Not just from, I think, an aesthetic standpoint. I think it looks awesome. But the performance, just all the way around, while it isn't the best around the track and it isn't the best in the drag strip, which I think if we could get it to accelerate like an electric vehicle really could, it might be up there. Definitely the fastest car I've ever built, and I'm really happy with that. Again, this is my first shot at an electric vehicle that is more performance based. The other two that I made were a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for, a little bit more of a novelty with the UFO and the Tron light cycle. So this is the first one that I built, was just like, you know, make it a performance electric vehicle, and I think I nailed it. So, you know, one final thing that we have to do, as you probably already know, since I already mentioned it, you know, earlier, we're going to take this thing to the car jump arena and see how far we can send it off the jump. Okay, and we are at the car jump arena here in the DSM Excalibur for the final piece of this testing. As always, if you enjoyed this, a like on the video would be really appreciated. I'm sure it means something, but I'm not exactly sure what, other than it makes me a little bit happier every time someone likes a video. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, if you haven't already, if you like the stuff that I've been doing here, that is always a good thing to do, unless you really don't want to subscribe to the channel, in which don't do that. If you don't want to subscribe, don't subscribe. But if you do want to subscribe, subscribe. Anyway, I will also be putting a link to the mod on the BeamNG site in the description below as usual. So if you want to try this thing out yourself and mess around with it, you can do so if you have BeamNG.drive. Which if you don't, if you're watching this video, it's a cool game. It's a really cool game. You should try it out. Anyway, let me straighten this up. I think I actually have it a little bit crooked here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see how far this thing can go off of the car jump. Let's roll over that. Oh, geez. Quite a bit of liftoff there. That's a little surprising. Let's see how quick this thing can get up to 240 miles an hour off the jump, and we're going to go into almost a full backflip, and we're going to land halfway between the end of the row there and the sand, and it's going to go into the pool, which is not good for the batteries whatsoever, although probably smashing into the ground at 250 miles an hour isn't good for the batteries either. But there we have it. There is an electric hypercar smashed up in a pool after smashing my top speed record. So once again, if you watched this video and you liked it, I appreciate it. If you didn't like the video and you watched it, I'm sorry. But I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you have a wonderful day, night, week, year, whatever amount of time you want to subscribe to, having a good period of that time. I'm just rambling. All right. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.